regular City Council meeting, May 7th, 2024. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Harmon. Councilmember Oscar Gutierrez.
Present.
Councilmember Friedman.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jordan.
Here.
Councilmember Sneddon.
Here.
Councilmember Alejandro Gutierrez.
Here.
Mayor Rouse.
Here. All right, very good. And we have some ceremonial items. You have an item to read?
Yes. Item 1, subject employee recognition service award pins.
Madam Administrator?
Thank you, Mayor Rouse. As you know, each month we acknowledge and highlight all the staff on their milestone work anniversaries. I'd like to recognize the following staff this month. With 5 years, Will Russell, Assistant Planner, Community Development Department. With 10 years, Bradley Klinzing, Supervising Engineer with the Public Works Department. 15 years, Rebecca Clarick, the Public Safety Dispatcher 3 with the Police Department. With 20 years, Jose Torres, the Water Distribution Operator Technician 2, Public Works Department. And with 25 years, Dean Carr, Water Treatment Plant Operator 3 with the Public Works Department. I'd like to congratulate all of our staff on their service milestones. Thank you.
Thank you. And the backup beeper was very timely out there as you're announcing Public Works personnel. And then you have another item to read on ceremonial items.
Yes. Item 2, subject Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5th through 11th, 2024.
So this is Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5 through 11, 2024. Whereas in 1969, the International Institute of Municipal Clerks celebrated the importance of the clerk's office in a week-long event, later officially recognized as Municipal Clerks Week by subsequent U.S. presidential proclamations, and whereas the professional position of municipal clerk is a time-honored and vital part of local government that exists throughout the world and is considered the oldest among public servants, and whereas professional municipal clerks provide the vital link between the public, local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and serve as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas professional municipal clerks pledge to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of affairs under their purview through the participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas the city appreciates the service, dedication, and accomplishments of the hardworking staff of the City of Santa Barbara City Clerk's Office. Now, therefore, I, Randy Rouse, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Santa Barbara, do hereby proclaim May 5th through 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in appreciation of our City Clerk Services Manager, Deputy City Clerks, and all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and the exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words? Sure.
Thank you. On behalf of the whole City Clerk office, we have Austin Taylor here, and we have two wonderful deputy city clerks who are working from home, not feeling amazing, but they're next to me and very thankful. And the clerk's office is proud to support the Santa Barbara residents, staff, and elected officials to meet the city's goals of transparency and effective administration of elections. And thanks to the mayor and all of council for your partnership. And thanks to the public, most importantly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Appreciate it. Very good. And with that, are there changes to the agenda, Madam Administrator?
Mayor Rouse, no changes. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we'll go then to the consent calendar. You have some items to read, Mr. Clerk?
Yes. Item 3, subject to increase in construction change order authority for the Central Library renovation project, resolution and agreement. the recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara amending Resolution Number 23-076, adopting the budget for fiscal year 2024 to appropriate funds for the Central Library renovation project. Item 4, subject set a date for public hearing regarding renewal of levy for fiscal year 2025 for the Wildland Fire Suppression Assessment District resolution. Recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara declaring its intention to continue the wildland fire suppression assessment within the foothill and extreme foothill zones, declaring the work to be of more than general or ordinary benefit, and describing the district to be assessed to pay the costs and expenses thereof, preliminarily approving the updated engineer's report, stating intention to continue assessments for fiscal year 2025, and establishing a time of 2 p.m. on Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, in the City Council chambers for a public hearing on the wildland fire suppression assessment. Item 5, subject termination of local emergency declaration resolution. Recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara terminating the declaration of local emergency pursuant to Government Code Section 8630, proclaimed by the Director of Emergency Services on February 1st, 2024, and ratified by the City Council on February 6th, 2024. And item 6, subject Water Smart Grant Acceptance for WaterWise Landscape Rebate Program resolution. Recommendation that council adopt by reading of title only a resolution of the Council of the City of Santa Barbara amending Resolution Number 23-076, adopting the budget for fiscal year 2024 to appropriate funds for the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation Water Smart Grant for the WaterWise Landscape Rebate Program.
All right, very good. Is there anyone in council that needs to pull an item for discussion? Ms. Sneddon?
Thank you, Mayor Rouse. I'd like to pull item 3 for some questions.
Okay, very good. And 3. And anyone further? And then, are there any speakers online that want to speak on or pull an item for discussion?
No hands at this time.
Okay, very good. And with that, I will we'll discuss that at the later time, and we'll take a vote on, take a motion on the rest of the consent calendar, absent item 3. Moved by Harmon. Second by Friedman. All those in favor? Could I have the vote machine?
Okay, we have a motion to move the balance of the consent calendar minus item 3 from Councilmember Harmon, seconded by Councilmember Friedman. Go ahead and vote, please.
All right, Madam passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll come back to the comment on that once we do general public comment. For general public comment, we have 3 minutes at the dais for anything that is not on today's agenda, but within the purview of this body. And my first speaker is, if I get this wrong, Eichen Potcotter. Did I get close?
Yes, correct. Honorable Council. I wonder, I'd like to submit, as far as the new police station goes, have you considered the News Press building as a possible new police station? Seems like it's possibly large enough and has plenty of parking, and it's ultimately could be less expensive. And it would be right here next door to the City Hall. And if you have considered it, I'd like to know what you've come up with, if somebody could get back with me. And it would save the farmers market from being displaced. It would save the possibility of the problems with the traffic if it moves to Carrillo and State Street, and might save money and save a lot of hassle for the farmers market and a lot of people and the fire department. And if somebody could get back with me if you have any thing to say about it, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, Mr. Potcotter, if you want to give your information to Holly, our secretary in the office, as you walk out the door into the left door there, she can get you in touch with one of us and we can walk you through that.
All right, thank you.
Rick Hansen.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Many landlords in Santa Barbara operate their enterprise as a business. There are significant tax advantages for doing so. All the expenses involved in renting and maintaining their property, including the property tax they pay on that property, are therefore business expenses. The home in which the landlord lives and may pay its mortgage also has living and maintenance expenses and property taxes, but these are personal housing expenses. Business expenses and personal housing expenses are obviously not the same. Property tax 0.51% in Santa Barbara and increases less than 2% per year. So the property owner's personal housing expenses and how much they can be increased yearly are thus limited. Unfortunately, this is not the case for tenants in Santa Barbara. Their personal housing expenses can be legally increased up to 10% a year. While some working tenants and those renters on a fixed income may get yearly cost of living increases, many do not. The disparity between the protection afforded those paying for a mortgage and those paying rent is inescapable. Why should renters be treated this way? You've had many people from the community come before you to speak about this problem of increasing rents. And if the landlord decides to renovate their property and evict the tenant on a no-fault basis, then the sky is the limit. The landlord can and has doubled or tripled the rent. The evicted tenant now has the right to return, but no way to afford the rent now that they're back, or would like to be back. Without the protection of a 2% rent cap, the right to return is meaningless. As a city council, you have the power to call for a vote by the people whether or not they do or do not want a 2% rent cap in Santa Barbara. You could call for that in this next election. To refuse to act on the rent cap problem is beyond despicable. All of the recent changes in the ordinance regarding tenants' rights were needed, but without a rent cap, they are unsupported. The issue may seem complicated, but the solution is simple. Put a sensible 2% rent cap in place, and as an honest city council, call for and authorize a vote in the next election by your constituents in Santa Barbara on this important issue. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's all the in-present public comment. Anyone online wishing to comment?
Yes, we have one online commenter. Aaron Ashland, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor and City Council, thank you for your time and service to our great city. I want you to do a little thought experiment with me. You see, I've worried about downtown ever since you allowed Henske and Harris to reduce the one thing that was compelling about coming downtown, the patios. Closing state was the best thing that had happened to downtown in more than 20 years. I've been working downtown, but I wasn't the only one. 80% of the city saw the change and wanted to keep it, an overwhelming majority. However, when Mayor Rouse was elected, everything changed quickly. Changes were initially made without talking to downtown businesses. Unfortunately, what is left is no longer attracting residents and visitors like it did before Mr. Rouse. But now I keep hearing that something needs to be done, and sooner rather than later, but no one is talking about putting back what worked. Please remember that downtown was so vibrant that the fire department said they were concerned about responding to emergencies and that it was much busier than they ever imagined when state was initially closed. I guess my question is, what is the plan? I haven't heard any good ideas that would give people back what they want. They want to sit outside and eat or drink. We can all guess at what might bring people back downtown, like we did for years before COVID, or we can just give them back what they said they wanted, a safe downtown with lots of outdoor places to eat and drink. What no one is saying out loud is that we traded outdoor seating for a bicycle lane. By doing this, you made being a pedestrian dangerous and left the center of the street for commuting. You see, there isn't anything vibrant about a bicycle riding by. It's there for a couple of seconds, and then the area is desolate again. The very middle of what we're trying to make vibrant is empty until the next bike. We've probably lost or reduced 70% of the patios, so the real question is, why were people coming downtown before Mayor Rouse, but now they aren't? You see, Mayor Rouse sat on council back when we were paying consultants before COVID to help us revive downtown, And if he had such great ideas, why didn't he speak up then before we paid them? My main point here is that no one really knows what might work, but we all saw what did work. Please pilot going back to at least 1 or 2 pedestrian blocks and allow any existing patios to expand as much as is safely possible. Other cities have done this with much more success on their closed streets, and you don't have to look any further than Ventura. Ask the owners of the Good Lion about the changes in revenue at their locations that have lost patios. It's eye-opening. As much as we need one-time events and great things to attract even more people downtown, what we need are the 2 things that made downtown attractive to people all the time. Those 2 things were safety and eating and drinking outside. None of us are psychics, so let's try the one thing that has worked in the last 20 years. Just a reminder that I sent you all the quotes from the commercial real estate agents talking about how bad downtown was before COVID. So going back to that when nothing has changed, it's only going to set us back further. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, and our final speaker is Teresa Gray. Terry Gray.
Yeah, thank you. Either one. I came today not to speak, but there's some things that I'm interested in, and I think I'd like to give you my opinions of them. The first thing that I would really like you to do is try to put some more money into the street, because the streets have holes in them, people are falling down, and a lady on my daughter's street broke her nose, and I don't want them to sue the city because that would just make it worse. That's the first thing. The second thing is the news press building to be used for the police is a great idea. I just heard him say that. I don't know how far you've gotten in your planning and if you couldn't go back and reconsider. So think about it, because I think if I've been reading in the paper about how much trouble the owner of the news press building is giving everybody. So maybe you could just offer her some money and she'd go away. That's the second thing. The third thing, this last gentleman who spoke about a 2% rent cap, it's really unrealistic, especially, oops. Jay, I'll have to call you back, okay? Sorry, that's my husband, he agrees. The third thing that I wanted to speak about, and again, I wasn't planning on it, is that darn, stop. Just a minute. Jay? I have to call you back, okay? Something unexpected has come up, okay?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'll call you right back. Sorry.
Hello?
Hey, Jay. I can't. Jay, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm just in the middle of speaking to the city council.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, where was I? Oh my gosh. The 2% rent cap is really unrealistic, especially everybody knows there's a 7% inflation right now. And we are really good landlords. When somebody moves into one of our places, we have four things that we rent, 3 little cottages and 1 little house on Milpas. And when somebody moves in, they stay with their rent until they move out. And then we raise the rent to the current market because we don't want to disrupt the people, number one. And number two, the people that live in our houses are important to us. And we usually get along with them very well. We're not causing people problems. So I would suggest that you just let the rental situation go as it will, and hopefully we will be able to continue offering our houses and fixing them when they need things and taking care of the utilities that we do and all the things. So please don't make it harder on us. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll tell my husband that you all say hello.
Okay, and that concludes general public comment. And with that, we'll go back to the pulled consent item. Ms. Sneddon, item 3.
Thank you, Mayor Rouse. So just for questions on this one, the staff report was a little thin, and I hear anecdotally all kinds of things from what I've read in the paper or different places. So I guess I have a couple questions. I'll just ask them all, and then you can answer them as you see fit. But just more detail on what are these unforeseen circumstances or not seen circumstances, just some more detail for the public, really, so that we're not hearing from different places. I'd rather hear it here. And then if this is expected to be the last change order, so in the staff report says 85% complete, but then there were a number of things that were still priorities but are put to the side. So is this expected to be the last one? And then along those lines, we've already had over $1 million in change orders. So just what's going on, and just for the public, really, so we're hearing a unified message, some more detail.
Mr. Demore.
Okay, Mayor Rouse, Councilmember Sneddon. Before I jump in on any details, I do want to just give a quick overview of what we normally see with our construction projects. And change order typically carries a negative connotation. But in reality, there are a variety of different things that can fall into that change order bucket. They can be owner-directed, additional scope of work that the owner requested. That happens pretty regularly on our projects. It can also be unforeseen things such as weather delays can result in additional cost to the contractor beyond what would be considered reasonable. Then there's also unexpected, unanticipated, unforeseen conditions. So those are three kind of typical things that fall into that bucket. And then there's another category of things, which is disputed items, where there may be some in the plans or the specifications, things are not perfectly clear as far as what the contractor was supposed to do, and those typically get negotiated between the owner and the contractor, and they agree upon a price and it gets settled out. Sometimes there isn't an opportunity to settle that, and that can go into a longer negotiation and even litigation. That's on projects, that's what both the contractor and the owner tries to avoid, that category of work. And on this project, we have the typical things of owner-directed extra work. We're doing some expanded work on the plaza area, the mini plaza area by the historic entry. If you've been by that area recently, you'll see that some street trees and some on-site trees have come down, and now you can really see that old entryway. And there was an interest from donors who contributed to the project, and library administration was supportive of expanding that plaza area. So that was an owner-directed additional scope of work that added to the change order. The winter was rough on this project with the rains. We discovered some leaks into the building that hadn't come up before, and through the discovery process on that, we realized that there were issues with drainage that were not known before the project started, and in order to address that, there was some additional scope of work needed from the contractor. Another item which was earlier in the project was on the elevator shaft. There was a lot more rock that they had to dig to get to the bottom of that shaft. So unforeseen conditions, additional cost, additional time on the project as well. Those were some of the bigger items. We weren't planning to go through the laundry list of things, but for the most part, the change order items are what I would consider to be typical on a project of this size and complexity on a building of this age. There are some items that are still in dispute and being negotiated, but it's our hope, it's our expectation that this is the last time we have to come to council. But we're also, at 85%. I can't guarantee you that we won't be back, but I certainly don't want to have to come back, and that was That was the goal with this. So there's some cushion in the ask of the change order to give us enough to make it to the end of the project without having to get back. So hopefully that answers both of your questions.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And then, so the projects that these funds are coming from, are we expecting then to still be able to do them, but they will just be delayed, like the East Side Garage project?
Mayor Rouse, Councilmember Sneddon, that's a great follow-up question. So Public Works staff met with library staff before we put this council report together to figure out where the funds were going to come from to finish this project. And it was agreed that those projects, the East Side Library Garage, we're leaving enough funding in that project, so we're not depleting it down to zero. We're leaving enough funding in the project to initiate the design process on that project. The other two projects are going to be on hold until the next budget cycle, and then there'll be an opportunity to request funding to get those going. But as we met with library management, there was also this realistic, the reality that there's been a lot of construction at Central Library, going back to the museum project and now this project, and we also have a remodel soon at hand for the Faulkner Gallery. So a little bit of a gap was seen as a good thing for the staff and for the patrons there. But those projects are still priority and would be in the mix for funding in FY26 when we do our next 2-year.
Okay, thank you. And then just confirming this is from Measure C funds for infrastructure projects.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, very good. Any further comment or question on this item? May I have a motion on item 3? Moved by Freeman,
Second.
second by Gutierrez. May I have the vote, please?
This vote is to adopt the recommendation moved by Councilmember Friedman and seconded by Councilmember Oscar Gutierrez. Go ahead and vote, please.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. Okay, thank you. Councilmember committee assignment reports. Ms. Sneddon.
Thank you, Mayor Rouse. Should I just do them all combined? I'm hard to, anyway. Sustainability Council Committee meeting, heard about some exciting future initiatives, attended San Ysidro Roundabout ribbon cutting, attended the Essential Santa Barbara presentation at Peabody Charter School. We also had a Housing Crisis Committee meeting with 805 UndocuFund, attended Women of Achievement Luncheon, Visit Santa Barbara annual meeting, Star King's 75th anniversary celebration, and the Eucalyptus Hill Association annual meeting with our very own Mary Linda Arroyo gave a really fantastic presentation.
Very good. Mr. Friedman.
Thank you. Attended the Sustainability Committee and Visit Santa Barbara annual meeting.
All right, very good. And with that, we go down, oh, Mr. Gutierrez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the walk and roll events that our city staff participated in with Move Santa Barbara to get kids to school safely. It was a lot of fun. I didn't really like waking up that early, but it was cool to be able to ride with a bunch of families and kids to school. I attended a Sister Cities meeting and got an update on all the different activities that our Sister Cities groups are planning and participating in. Went to the McKinley School open house. It was great to see a lot of friends with their kids there and all the great STEM programs that that school has to offer. Also attended the Visit Santa Barbara annual general meeting and got to participate in their sound bath that they had afterwards. Very soothing. attended the YMCA fundraiser. Also attended First Thursday. Held a few housing crisis committee meetings with some local nonprofits. Went to the San Marcos Royals Gala fundraiser, so that was great. Attended and spoke at the Community Day at El Presidio. I really enjoy everything they do there. It's such a great organization, and the fact that they get so active with the community is really encouraging. Attended the Santa Barbara City College Foundation fundraiser. And then attended the youth council meeting last night, and they had a lot to say about the parking rates going up, which is really interesting because most of them do not drive, but they still were very vocal about their opinions about it. And then also sat in near the end of the Monroe School Town Hall yesterday, and I want to thank such a good turnout from city staff to be there to address a lot of the residents' questions. Thank you.
All right, very good. Well, we did last week we did the celebrated the courthouse docent program. Went there to make some presentations. Also was at the Women of Achievement Awards held at the Cabrillo Arts Center, along with another one of our Central SB Town Hall productions. Friday did something rather interesting. Went to the Santa Cruz Island Foundation Mass on the island itself, which was kind of a spectacular thing to do. And the island is very lush. It looks more like Costa Rica than it looks like Santa Cruz Island right now. It's incredibly lush out there, which means we got probably a crazy fire season coming up out on the islands this year. Along with Mr. Gutierrez, I attended the spring gala at City College. Along with Councilwoman Snedden, I was at the Eucalyptus Hill Association board, which is extremely well attended. And then yesterday was the Riviera board, another Essential Santa Barbara meeting. And then tonight, we're all going to, anyway, so those of us who are interested, the Housing Authority Town Hall for the new project up in the Samarkand area. Now with that, Madam Administrator, we have advisory group interviews. We called for an estimated time of 3 p.m., which is a half an hour away. And I'm not seeing any applicants right now. What should we do with that?
Mayor Rouse, I would recommend that we take a short recess and see if we have any applicants arrive, since we do still have about a half an hour.
Okay, so I'm going to call on Ms. Gutierrez first, but yeah, I think after that maybe we will. No, hang on a second. Do a break and then come back in. Ms. Gutierrez, did you have something to report?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We had Finance Committee today.
There you go. Did I forget to call you? I guess I did, didn't I?
Yep. So at the Finance Committee, we met to hear an overview report from staff in connection with the city administrator budget to fiscal year 2025. Staff presented significant changes compared to the second year plan for all city departments, including changes to revenues, expenditures, reduction fees, and capital projects, staffing, and other changes. The next public meeting on the budget is on Tuesday at the regular council meeting.
All right, thank you very much. And with that, we will take a recess, come back at 3 o'clock and see what we have for applicants. interviews for committees and commissions. I'm going to go by the different boards, and if, as you listen to your board, when you're ready to come up, please introduce yourself and what you're applying for. Going to try to get everybody to do it right around 3 minutes, so there'll be the timer on, and then we may have questions for the candidates as you come forward. All right, so we'll start out with the Architectural Board of Review. Anybody here for that? All right. We'll go to the Arts Advisory Committee. Please come forward. Let us know who you are, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Mayor, council members, baby. I'm Carol Goodman. Some of you might recognize me or my name from serving for 4 years as an airport commissioner, which was an honor. During that time, we navigated through COVID and reached a consensus with General Aviation to pass the airport minimum standards that finally allowed business in the airport to start to move forward again. While my time as a commissioner was fulfilling, pardon me for reading this, another SB project was more in my wheelhouse. I had the pleasure of partnering with the architect John Kelly to design the banners on the Mesa, and they serve to unify our little corner of the city and draw visitors to stores and restaurants. But I'm here today to ask for your consideration for a seat on the Art Advisory Committee, one that I believe I am well suited for. My background in art history, combined with practical experience running a graphic design business, can bring to the committee some unique sets of skills. As a young adult, I had the privilege of studying art appreciation at the Barnes Foundation in the suburbs of Philadelphia. It was a private collection of world-class art with a focus on Impressionist and Post-Impressionist paintings. Its legacy is a school for artists, scholars, and novices that challenge the way people see. It was conceived as an egalitarian institution unifying people of all education, economic, and cultural stratas, and it was my introduction to a new world. I then moved to Washington, D.C. for college to study visual communications. My first real job was as an art director for a political media consulting firm. I learned the importance of collaboration and how to put a check on your ego in the pursuit of the most effective outcomes. And I learned the business side of design, meeting budgets and deadlines. One of my many exciting highlights include launching the National Kids Campaign that won numerous awards, and our team was honored with the reception in the Rose Garden alongside the president. I also had the opportunity to design the logo and advertising for an underdog presidential candidate, Bill Clinton. 8 years of my experience under my belt, I opened Do Good Design Studio. I worked with talented designers and illustrators and photographers to further the efforts of such clients as Women's Campaign Fund, United Nations Foundation, the Pew Charitable Trusts, and after 15 years, I moved here and then retired. I have so much more to say, which are some ideas for opening up some of the State Street vacant buildings to house artists and artisans and bring more vitality to the area. And it's an opportunity to revitalize the city also. I have a lot to learn in order to become effective. I relish the opportunity to dig in and serve with Director Rubin, the Arts Commission, in this capacity. I ask for your support. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your service to our community.
Right on time. Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else for the Arts Advisory Committee? Building Code and Fire Code Board of Appeals.
Hello, my name is Paul Spieler, and councilmen and women and mayor, I want to thank you for your service to this community. I'm applying for the Board of Fire of Appeals for Building and Fire Code of Appeals. And I've been on the board for about 5 years now, so I'm renewing my seat as a board member. I'm a structural engineer. I started my business in 1991 and been working with the city ever since, and the county and building department, so I'm pretty familiar with the process. And that's about it.
All right. Are there questions for Mr. Spieler? Thanks for your previous service. Appreciate you coming in. Anybody else for the Building and Fire Code Board of Appeals? Central Coast Commission for Senior Citizens. The Civil Service Commission.
Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Craig Smith. I'm a longtime resident of southern Santa Barbara County, 48 years. Last 21 of those consecutively within the city of Santa Barbara. I am a semi-retired attorney. I recently celebrated my 40th anniversary of teaching at Santa Barbara College of Law. My other part-time job these days is working for the Superior Court as their mental health hearing officer. So I hear cases of people who are contesting their 14-day mental health holds. So in terms of my experience in doing the type of work that would be involved in being a member of the commission, I have a lot of experience in listening to different versions of what happened and deciding what the actual facts are, and then applying rules of law and regulations to make a determination. In terms of why I'm interested in serving on the commission, I believe in good government, and I know good government starts with the people who actually work in government. I worked in local government for the county of Santa Barbara for just a little over 25 of the 30 years that I actively practiced law. So I was in the DA's office. I worked for the Superior Court in a couple of capacities, and I also worked at the county counsel's office. So I don't know if you have any other questions or anything.
Very good. Questions for this candidate? Mr. Jordan.
I actually will cheat. I don't have a question, but just a comment, and it's like a rare Craig Smith sighting in public. I thank you for applying. If I had a bucket with people who, kind of just were part of how I ended up planning commissioner and sitting here, you were part of those formative years with the Craig Smith blog, and the blogs aren't quite like that anymore, and just want to say thank you for that time and effort you put in at that time and the reasoned voice that you were. So thanks.
You're very welcome. I appreciate that very much.
So you're Mr. Smith's fault then. All right, very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Community Events and Festivals Committee.
Hi, I'm Daisha Harwood. I have served on the Events and Festivals Committee for 2 terms, and I am back applying today. My career includes 15 years at Goleta Valley Historical Society, planning festivals and events in collaboration with many local organizations. And for the last 5 years, I've been the executive director of Santa Barbara Historical Museum, where we host about 85 events per year, many in collaboration with other organizations. So I'm very familiar with many of the wonderful institutions in this town that put on community events, and very familiar with how they operate. I'm a very active volunteer. 2019, I was named Volunteer of the Year by the Goleta Chamber, and most recently, I was on the top 50 women in business list by the Pacific Coast Business Times. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Any questions, Ms. Harwood?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else for Community Events and Festivals Committee? County of Santa Barbara Library Advisory Committee.
Hi, Council and Mayor. Thanks for having me. My name is Amber Caldwell. I know some of you, and I'm happy to be here to talk with you about why I would like to be reappointed as the Santa Barbara representative for the County Library Commission. I'm just getting started up there, and I would like to continue my service. So far, this past year, I've been focused on building relationships and bringing innovative ideas to the County Library Board. There's a need to restore perceptions of Santa Barbara as a leader and a partner within the greater county library system, and I've been working towards that. As an example, I've been offering solutions to what I perceived as shared needs across the library system. I initiated a county behavioral health presentation in response to the common need for better responses to constituents at the libraries as far as crisis response. They presented what they can bring to the table. I advocated that libraries should should be considered a hub for those early interventions. And at the most recent county board meeting, I proposed a countywide library board retreat. It was unanimously approved after learning that we would not be pursuing a special tax to support libraries countywide. If there's no new money coming in for libraries, we need to be innovative and resourceful in how we provide responsive community resources. And we are much more capable of doing that if we work together. So I've been coordinating with county leaders and library directors. This retreat is framed to look ahead on how we communicate and advocate for libraries to our constituents, elected officials, and donors, as well as determine shared standards and values for what we hope our individual libraries can strive for in the future. That's going to be really important. We're attempting to have this retreat in the next 6 months, but in order for me to be part of that, I need to be reappointed. I feel urgent in this and being reappointed, considering the county library liaison has now just stepped down. So we don't have a designated county leader. And I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to remain in this position, to reinstore and reinforce a positive dynamic between Santa Barbara and the greater county library system. I have a certification in facilitation leadership with a focus on conflict resolution, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I also have strong relationships with county supervisors as a board member of the Democratic Women of Santa Barbara County. So in closing, libraries are an essential community resource. I would argue they are the heart of any city. They are the most cost-effective investment to provide positive early intervention for improving social determinants of health. And if our county library system is strong, supported, and capable of responding to community needs, we have a strong, supported, and capable community. So that means less crime, less homelessness, better grades, more job development, and all in a healthy community. So if you have any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Ms. Caldwell? Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you guys.
Creeks Advisory Committee. Downtown Parking Committee.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your consideration for my membership on the Downtown Parking Committee. My name is Wesley McCrae, and for the better part of the last decade, I've been a partner at a local real estate investment and development firm and a tenant in downtown Santa Barbara. So this is something that is very near and dear to me, and it's something that I care about in helping to revitalize and make downtown as strong as possible. I also volunteer on the board of directors of the Coastal Housing Coalition, where we're working to help solve the housing crisis that affects all of us as well. So in working downtown, I've spent a lot of time thinking about how I could make the most impact. I spoke with Trey Pinner, who's another member of this committee, and being a numbers guy, the Downtown Parking Committee seemed like something that could make a lot of sense. Obviously, a lot of numbers, a lot more expenses than dollars at this point, but there's a lot of decisions that need to be coming up here soon. So I think that my professional background and passion to get involved would help make an impact on this committee. So I appreciate your consideration.
All right, thank you. Are there questions for this candidate?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else for the Downtown Parking Committee? The Housing Authority Commission.
Hello, good afternoon, City Council, Mayor Rouse. My name is Kirsten Ellis, and I'd like you to consider me for the Housing Authority Commission. For the past 4 years, I've been on the board for the Garden Court, Inc. entity that serves as a general partner for the Housing Authority's senior living, affordable senior living projects in town. And I've had a great experience doing that. And Rob Frederick suggested that I consider stepping up to this level. And to me, it's very exciting opportunity. I've been a real estate attorney for my whole adult career. So for 30 years, I do real estate transactions. Most of my career has been in the city of LA, where I started off doing land use law, and then got into other real estate development, wide range of real estate development, leasing, acquisitions, sales. And that's what I continue to do now. I'm no longer at a big firm, which I used to be in downtown LA, but I have a firm now with my husband. We have an office on State Street, and we also have an office in LA still. And what I focus on now is I do housing for senior living facilities across the country. So my experience is most in the private sector, but at this stage of my career, I'm looking to give back to the community, and I really enjoy the community of Santa Barbara, and in particular, I've been inspired by your housing authority and how much creativity they've shown and energy they've shown at tackling a problem that is really, you know, one of the biggest problems for the state of California. I'm a lifelong Californian, so it really matters to me. And I've just been so impressed how much better they are than they are in the city of LA at handling it. And it seems to me if I could be involved and help energize the group, I'd love to do that. So lately, I've been involved in some nonprofits in Santa Barbara. I'm on the board of the Santa Barbara Newcomers, where I run the local heritage committee, and I'm on the women's board for the Santa Barbara Museum of Art. Any questions?
So Mr. Friedman has a question for you.
I actually don't have a question. It's more, it's for staff, just a clarification.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
For staff, on our sheet, it shows that it says there's 3 vacancies. And then when we go down to where the names are, it says there's 2 categories, 1 vacancy each. So I'm just, if we could clear up whether or not there's a 3rd vacancy and which category it is when you give us the final list. Thank you.
And Ms. Welsh is listening in, so you can, and while we're working on that, is there any other questions for this particular candidate? Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Gorman, are you checking in on that? Is that?
We will check in, and if we have an answer for you
Thank you
during
very
these
much.
interviews, we'll provide it, if not
Appreciate
before the final list.
Anyone else for the Housing Authority Commission? Living wage advice, no, it's not even on. Nobody's here for that. Neighborhood Advisory Council. Rental Housing Mediation Board. Santa Barbara Youth Council. And please tell us your name and what high school you represent as well, or what school you represent.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Clara Stump, and I'm representing San Marcos High School here in my application for Youth Council. As a committed individual, I am eager to express my interest in securing a seat on the Santa Barbara City Youth Council. Should I be granted the privilege of serving on this council, I'm fully prepared to dedicate myself and my time to its endeavors. I am deeply drawn to the prospect of contributing to the Santa Barbara City Council's collaborative efforts with its various city groups, all aimed at amplifying the voice of teenagers in our community. My passion for effecting positive change is a driving force behind my desire to join the Santa Barbara City Youth Council. Throughout my involvement in my diverse extracurricular activities, I have honed in on a range of skills which I believe would greatly benefit the council. These skills include, but are not limited to, accountability, teamwork, responsibility, and adaptability. One of my primary objectives, if appointed, would be to leverage my capabilities to enhance awareness and participation in teen-oriented events among teenagers in Santa Barbara. By effectively promoting the council's initiatives, I aim to broaden its reach, encouraging greater attendance and fostering an increased engagement among students. Furthermore, I'm committed to collaborating with my fellow teens to address pressing issues and effect meaningful change with our community, whether they be concerned about teen mental wellness, teen civic engagement, or teens taking action in local environmental issues. I will be sure to connect them with the resources they need or to help solve their issue myself. While it may not be feasible for every teen in Santa Barbara to join Santa Barbara City Youth Council, I'm confident in my ability to connect with a wide demographic of peers my age, which will enable me to be a powerful advocate on their behalf. In conclusion, I'm grateful for the opportunity to convey my qualifications for a seat on Santa Barbara City Youth Council. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, the floor is now yours.
I think Mr. Gutierrez has a question for you.
Hi, yeah, good to see you again. So an issue that keeps coming up for us as council members is the situation with our youth and e-bikes or biking in general. Can you give me some insight on what the youth council has done so far to address that, or what you're planning to do to address that?
So we had a member who left our team last year, but his name was Davis Flanagan. I know he worked very closely with the city council in advocating for teen bikers. And I think as the city plan comes out, which will be reinventing spaces as well as roadways, we will be sure to advocate for teens that they have a safe and protected bike path, because I know that's really important. Whether you're a driver, a biker, or a walker, they need a coveted space to transport themselves. And we plan on definitely making that more of a prominent point to the city council, just because, as you know, Santa Barbara is a very active town, and it's hard to be active, whether you're a walker or biker, if you don't have that space to do so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Further questions? Thank you very much. Anyone else for Santa Barbara Youth Council?
Hello, Council. My name is Cindy, and I'm applying to be reappointed onto the Santa Barbara Youth Council as a public at-large member. I've previously served on the council, and I really enjoyed it, and it's why I'm asking to be reappointed. If appointed, I would dedicate my time and commit to it. I really like the community that Santa Barbara Youth Council has, and an issue that I'm trying to address as the youth council is just smoking in general, whether it's like creating a smoke-free multi-unit housing policy in Santa Barbara so that teens are no longer inhaling secondhand smoke, or just like making schools more accountable for all the smoking and drug use that happens at schools. As if appointed onto the city council, Santa Barbara Youth Council, I would make sure to make that a priority, just because at school, most people aren't really going to learn. Instead, they're going and like hiding out in the bathrooms and missing classes, and it's something I feel like we need to address for the future generation. Thank you.
All right, very good. Mr. Gutierrez has a question for you.
Yeah, I'm just going to continue the whole e-bike situation. So at your high school, what's the policy on e-biking? Is there any kind of policy or rules that are implemented there that you think we can implement citywide?
So my school has like a sidewalk like directly on it because I go to Bishop, so bike safety isn't really an issue. But I feel like San Marcos can have like, just because it's such a big school and like so much like car traffic, they should like implement like having like crosswalks like by the freeway. Even though there are some, I feel like just having people like crosswalk people because there are a lot of freeways nearby, and I feel like most parents are like in a hurry, so I feel like implementing like people there to oversee everything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you. Anyone else for Santa Barbara Youth Council?
Hello, my name is Chloe Boyd. I go to Bishop Diego, and I'm applying for the Santa Barbara Youth Council because I want to help teenagers make decisions that will affect all of us, like citywide, and especially for the youth. It would be an honor to be appointed because then I could share my ideas that I've had on a larger scale, and also I want to make the city that I grew up in a better place. I'm currently the co-president of the Art for Good Club at my school, where I organize activities, arrange meetings, and work with others for fundraising purposes. I'm involved in the Spark Rescue Club, the Film Club, and the Sustainability Club. I also have over 200 service hours, and I also have a job. I run a business that I started back in 2020, where I have learned to be responsible, organized, and hone my customer service skills, all because of my motivation and drive. I am interested in promoting sustainability among Santa Barbara youth because I grew up learning about the importance of recycling, keeping our beaches clean, and composting. I would love to further educate myself and the youth so that we can keep our oceans clean and our ecosystems healthy for future generations. I think it's important for teenagers to be involved in leadership because That way the community will be able to understand how we feel because they might not see what we're experiencing. I've been looking for a forum to express my ideas, and I think that a perfect opportunity would be to join the youth council. I want to share my drive and dedication with the Santa Barbara Youth Council because when I set a goal, I have 100% determination to complete the task. I'll be able to dedicate my time to the Youth Council because I'm finishing up my junior year, and next year I think that I'll be more open. So let me know if you guys have any questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Gutierrez has a question.
Yes, just again, what's your overall opinion about the youth using e-bikes on State Street, and what do you think we as a council should do about it?
I think that using e-bikes is definitely good, especially because I was just talking about sustainability and it's a way for younger people to get around. But I definitely think that the bike lane is a huge issue that needs to be addressed, and that it's causing problems for drivers, like people who are walking and then just bikers in general. So I think that, like, if the city wants to make like a bike lane or something, that would definitely help.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else for Santa Barbara Youth Council?
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Nicholas Gasson. I'm an 8th grader at La Colina Junior High, and I'm excited to be able to work with the Youth Council. I'm interested in becoming a member of the Youth Council because they work with the city leaders and the community on issues that impact teens and greater Santa Barbara, such as the recent gun ordinance. Some of the skills that will make me successful in serving our community are that I'm good at creating videos and editing, so I think I can create visual stories that advertise the issues we are working on. I'm responsible and can collaborate, share ideas, and work well with others. I want to be appointed to the Youth Council because I feel as though I'm meant to be a part of something bigger than myself. Because I live with my grandparents, I have extra sensitivity on how my actions can impact others. I'm interested in helping come up with a plan surrounding bike safety. There's a strong amount of controversy surrounding the topic of bikers in Santa Barbara. As an e-biker myself, I have to prove to my parents that I was responsible enough to handle an expensive e-bike. I took free classes in town through the Santa Barbara Bike Coalition. I secured an internship so I can learn how to maintain my own bike without any extra expenses. I did many things over the past year to earn my parents' trust. However, I realized not all teens or adults are as responsible and that concerns raised on social media are valid. E-bike safety and how we are viewed impacts me and my peers now. I also realize this issue is complex and not simple. For example, we're changing housing laws and building more homes, alternate forms of transportation for getting around town, parking, and are considering our environment is necessary to keep up with these changes. Education is also important. If we don't figure out how to make sure bikers are being safe, then my peers and I will be hit with a new concern in a couple of years when we start to drive. I will be a beginner driver and also worry about an e-biker in my blind spot. Together, we can come up with a better and safer plan for pedestrians and e-bikers to share State Street. We can offer more widely advertised bike safety classes. Also, it would be amazing to have older teens volunteer to teach younger teens how to safely bike. Biking isn't going away anytime soon, so we need to figure out something to decrease the negative stereotypes and make bikes safe and welcome on the street today. Our environment will have less pollution in the air and on the streets, and it encourages people to get out of their houses, move their bodies, and interact with others. With the rate at which we are rapidly building new housing, alternate forms of transportation is here to stay. And I'd like for it to be a safe and accepted form of transportation for all. That's it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Gutierrez has a question for you.
Thank you. You kind of already answered the questions I've asked everyone else, but is there anything else you want to add about the e-bike situation that we're facing as a council?
Well, currently, I honestly think that there should be more rules implemented towards e-bikers because as seen in a past meeting, e-bikers were clocked going 23 miles per hour, and that is going honestly way too fast while there are still pedestrians using sidewalk and the street. And there's many people around who, like my grandpa, he has many blind spots in his peripheral vision, and he can't see and hear people coming around him, and something terrible could happen because he has no way of seeing around him, and it's dangerous letting that stuff be able to happen. So possibly there could be more people checking out the area, surveying it, and stuff like that.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for this candidate? All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else for the Santa Barbara Youth Council?
Hi, my name is Atsiri Bernal Castro, and I'm a junior at Santa Barbara High School. And I would like the opportunity to be appointed to Santa Barbara Youth Council because I feel strongly about making our community a safer place and environment for everyone. And I feel like I'd be a good member because I feel strongly about certain community issues that record youth, especially as, for example, the lack of community within youth. Like as a junior right now, I'm taking a bunch of AP tests and there's not as much support groups for it. And I think having support groups for teenagers and knowing that you're not going through things alone is super important. And I think definitely being involved in leadership is really important because you get to learn from mentors. And just, yeah, I've been a part of the cheer team for now 4 years, and I've learned to be able to listen to everyone's concerns and make sure that solutions are made.
All right, very good. Any questions for the speaker, Mr. Gutierrez?
Thank you for applying. So Santa Barbara High, how do they deal with e-bikes on campus? Do they have any rules that you think we can implement?
Well, at our school, they have the safety limit. You have to be 16 years or older to ride an e-bike, and you have to wear helmets at all time. And I've witnessed a few security guards that stop students without helmets, and either they call their parents or they just wait at school. And so I think definitely safety needs to be implemented because I've definitely witnessed a few accidents because of, e-bikes go pretty fast, and there's definitely older citizens that just don't have as fast reaction times. But there's also definitely a negative stigma around e-bikers. But it's also a bunch of teenagers trying to get around. Not everyone can afford a car, so it's definitely the way for teenagers to get around town.
And how do the teenagers react to these rules? Are they mainly understanding of it, or are they pretty adverse to it?
I've definitely seen a few negative reactions, but most of them listen pretty well to our school policies. And I think it should definitely be implemented more with the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. And anyone else for Santa Barbara Youth Council?
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Jordan.
So, Sarah, that's another one where there's 8 vacancies, but the numbers in the parentheses don't add up to 8. They get those mystery categories, and it looks like there's less than 8 that have applied. So by the time these come back, can you manipulate them so we're able to accommodate as many of the ones that applied as possible?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, and I do have a few answers on the housing vacancies and the Youth Council vacancies. So, for the Youth Council, it's 8 total vacancies, 2 at large, 2 SBUSD, 1 private, 2 alternative or continuation, but we had no applicants for the alternate continuation, which is why it's not on the sheet. But we will review this and make it clear.
Distill it down so we can. Yeah,
Exactly.
give everyone an opportunity. Okay, very good. That was it for Youth Council, I think, right? Okay. Single Family Design Review Board. We left out there. Sister Cities Board. Water Commission. Architectural Board of Review. That was, Water Commission was it. I'm back in the beginning. Is anybody here that has not had a chance to apply? Well, thank you so much for being here and doing that.
And Mr. Mayor and Council, if I may,
Yes.
just to answer the question about the Housing Authority. There are 3 categories, but we only have applications for 2. So essentially, you can appoint 2 people, 1 for each
Okay.
category.
All right, very good. Thank you. With that, are there any staff or council communications or council engagements to report? I do.
Wait, I'm sorry. I had a question.
Yes, Ms. Sneddon.
I'm sorry. I had a follow-up from Ms. Clark. Sorry.
Sure.
For the Housing Authority Commission, did you say 3 vacancies, but we only had 2 apply? But I had notes for 3 different applicants.
There are 3 vacancies, 1 for each category. Category of senior tenant, regular tenant, public at large. We have 3 applicants, all for that public at large position. So you'll select one of those 3.
And so none of those 3 at the public at large are what you call regular tenant?
Exactly, exactly. And then we have 1 applicant for the senior tenant position.
Thank you.
You know, you might just in the future clear that up by just having a blank box for the one that didn't apply, then we don't think the math's off between the narrative and what's in the boxes, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Mayor and Council, absolutely
Thanks.
agree. Yes.
All right, very good. Any other engagements or Ms. Gutierrez?
Yeah, I just wanted to share with everybody, I don't know if you heard the news, but the East Side Boys and Girls Club will be shutting down mid-June. I've been in communication with some staff members there and community members to see how we can help the children, especially because summer is right around the corner. And the club provides an all-day childcare. And I met with a couple of mothers from my district. There has been an increase of youth activity that is related to, don't want to use the word gang, but I think this is kind of the aftermath of COVID. And now with the East Side Boys and Girls Club closing, I just wanted to share that with my council members. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thursday evening at 6 up at Free Methodist Church on Cliff Drive down the street from the fire station, the annual meeting of the Mesa Neighborhood Association. The mayor has bailed on that to go to the UCSB economic forecast, leaving me to have all kinds of poetic license alone. But there will be probably a lot of people in attendance from the Mesa, and if not, you could be one of those. There's cake and cookies. There'll be some reports on Douglas Family Preserve, the John Gather Cole Parkway there in front of the strip stores, and a presentation also from the, I won't attempt her last name yet, haven't met her, the new Santa Barbara City College president, who's freshly back in town to run that facility. So should be a good meeting. If you haven't heard about it yet on emails or social media, then hope you can attend.
Yeah, I regret that I kind of missed an opportunity to hear my council member Jordan hold forth, but you know, some sacrifices need to be made. Any other comments or engagements? Public comment or anything? And with that, we will stand adjourned at 3:42. Thank you.